When you apparently you gave feedback, let's put it to that, on the supposedly slow progress of the Marcos administration's investigation into the flood control projects. Kasi ang papasok na budget, may flood control projects na po, no? You were criticized by Palace Press Officer Claire Castro. And in fact, she put it back at you and said that kumbaga, if someone like you feels that things are moving too slowly, this is a direct quote from her. Let's go back to the stories and accounts from 2019 when Benji Magalong admitted he had already started investigating the rock netting issue back in 2019. Kumbaga, sinasabi na hindi nyo pa naman to natapos, etc. Ganun din. So, I think just to close this part, what is your reaction to Claire Castro's response?
Okay. Thank you, Karen. Mabuti na lang nabanggit mo yan. Ako'y nalulungkot dahil nga they should have taken my comments constructively. Hindi ko naman sila talaga binabatikos ng kumbaga dinidikdik. Hindi naman gano'n. I'm just giving a very objective comment and I'm just echoing yung sentiment ng taong bayan at yung mga mayors na talagang mabagal talaga. Tingnan mo nga, magmula pa nang nagsalita si Presidente, siyempre, hinihintay nila yung outcome nung binanggit niya na mahiya kayo at yung mga declaration niya. Siyempre, yun ang tinitingnan, hinihintay ng mga taong bayan, ilan na. Kumbaga, ano yun yung measure? No? Ano yun yung panukat? Pero the mere fact na nandiyan pa rin, nakalabas pa rin si Congressman Romualdez, yung mga top people sa Kongreso na hindi naman hanggang ngayon nakalabas pa rin o hindi pa na kakasuhan o hindi pa na nakukulong. Siyempre, yun ang hinahanap ng taong bayan. Kung hindi ko rin alam na ako pala yung investigator nila para pagdating sa ganyan, Karen, hindi ko alam na ako pala dapat ang mag-imbestiga. Unang-una, hindi ba parang, let us say, isang malaking kumpanya, tapos isang division head na nag-complain sa top management. Sinabi niya na may kalokohan dyan sa procurement. Tapos sabi ng top management sa iyo, o sige, imbestigahan mo na at ikaw na rin ang mag-file ng case. Ano mararamdaman mo? Ano mararamdaman? At last, assuming nasdyan sa kanyo sa company nyo ngayon, no? Sa studio nyo, bigla ka nagsumbong. Tapos sinabi ng management, o sige, ikaw na rin ang mag-imbestigat, ikaw na rin mag-file ng kaso. O kaya people just keep silent about it, yung top management. What would you feel, di ba? Ano yung magiging pananaw mo ngayon? Di ba? Everybody is involved. So ganun nga, dapat constructive sana ang pagkakakuha nila ng comment ko. At gawa nila ng paraan, gawa nila ng solusyon, may pakita nila.
Okay, I think just to end this part as we move on to other issues is what happened to your relationship with the palace? I mean, at one point you were appointed, right? You were actually appointed to actually help investigate the corruption with flood control and other issues. So you were technically helping the administration. You were helping President Marcos Jr. solve the corruption issues. And then of course, at some point you left. Alam mo, nagkahiwalay kayo, but the answers coming from Malacanang, it seems that the relationship doesn't look too good at this point, no? I mean, Claire Castro also reacted to allegations you made about House impeachment prosecutors having budget insertions na frankly speaking, totoo naman. So bakit pa nag-respond? Alam mo yun, ba't ka pa sinagot on this? Alam naman ang lahat na talagang may budget insertions ang ilan sa impeachment prosecutors. So why did it come to this?
Well, alam mo, nalulungkot nga ako na some people are trying to drive a wedge between me and the President. Alam mo, taas na respeto ko kay Presidente. Dahil nakita ko naman yung kanyang sincerity. No? At nakita ko yung kanyang, alam mo, very genuine yung galit. Nung nag-inspect kami sa Canon, ako naman yung training ko sa FBI Academy, isa yan, yung body language, statement analysis. I saw how genuine he was when he was really so mad about yung rock netting project. At katapos, pinasakay pa niya ako sa sakyan ko. Ako nagulat talaga, napakabait pala nitong tao na to, sabi ko. Kaya, yung mga comments ko naman very constructive. In fact, in several occasions, praise ko pa nga si Presidente sa kanyang mga programang ginawa. Yung RICE program, yung itong mga school program natin, patapos yung ginawa niya during the energy crisis. O itong energy crisis, yung update program. These are very good programs. Pero pagdating dyan sa investigation ng mga anomalies, I need to come up with a comment. Alam nga naman, banggitin ko na, hindi, maganda ang takbo ng investigation. When in fact, alam naman natin na hindi. So sana, yung mga taong nagdadrive ng wedge dyan, gumagawa ng mga istorya, please, huwag naman kayo manira at huwag nyo rin sirain yung relasyon namin ng ating Presidente. Maayos naman, napakabait niya sa akin every time na we see each other sa ibang mga event. Wala naman siya, very genuine siyang nakikipagkamay sa akin. Wala naman ako nakikitang kaplastikan sa kanya. Kaya natagtataka lang ako bakit puro na lang paninira ang ginagawa nila. So, I hope na sana mag-die down na ito. Tungkol naman doon sa comment ko doon sa impeachment. Totoo naman yan, I'm just echoing again the sentiment of many mayors. At itong nabalitaan ko pa about this impeachment, that they were promised 20 million, tapos 10 million pa lang na ipapadala nila, ibibigay. And these things are really, yun ang mga nabanggit sa akin, ng mga kongreso rin sa loob din naman nagbabanggit sa akin. Alangan naman i-reveal ko yung sources ko. Pero taong bayan dapat malaman ninyo na this is what really is happening dyan sa loob yan. Kaya hindi naman ako nanira sa hindi naman ako nanira sa institusyon nila. Sila mismo ang nanira sa kanilang sariling institusyon. At hindi lang nila sinira sa sarili nilang institusyon. Sinira pa nila yung buong bayan. And look what is happening. Dahil doon sa nangyaring massive corruption. Look at our GDP. Look at our debt, national debt. Look at our FDI. Look at our inflation. Pero, nakakalungkot isipin.
Okay.
Pero,
but I think just to end this, the palace did, through Undersecretary Claire Castro, she said that your rock netting investigation hit 6 years. And I want to ask you that essentially, what have you found? Because eventually it will lead to the safety, right, of your constituents in Baguio. So parang makonect na po natin ito sa totoo lang sa pinagdaanan ninyo sa Baguio kamakailan dahil sa matinding pag-ulan. All right. What is your closure with the 6-year rock netting investigation?
okay, I filed the case. Ako mismo ang nag-imbestiga kami with the help of the CIDG. Tapos iniwanan ko yung case. The case was actually reviewed by a group of lawyers, very good distinguished lawyers, based here in the city of Baguio. Pinakita ko pa, pinareview pa ko pa uli sa isang grupo ng lawyers sa Metro Manila. Tapos on the basis of that, binigay ko na sa ICI at binigay ko na rin sa DPWH. At the same time, yung main suspect doon, in-interview ko pa, dinala ko pa sa DPWH, in-interview pa nila, ni-reveal niya lahat kung sino yung mga involved doon sa rock netting projects. At the same time, siya rin na nagsabi, Mayor, tatapatin kita, sabi niya sa akin. 90% ng mga project dito sa Cordillera, substandard. Bakit mo nabanggit yan? Isa lang sir ang source ng aming mga materials. And true enough, when I inspected again at random, I directed our investigators to look at 10 sites at random, pick 10 sites at random, at kumuha ng sample, lumalabas na 7 out of 10. That was 4 months ago lang. Defective na agad yung mga rock netting projects.
Okay.
So itong mga bagay na to, I already conveyed it to national government. Even to DPWH secretary, lahat na sa kanila. So ibig sabihin, sila na motu proprio, they should already initiate yung investigation, di ba?
Because there were criticisms.
Yeah.
Pasensya ka na. There were criticisms, Mayor, that you were withholding certain names with a rock netting investigation. And even former Senator Antonio Trillanes criticized you on this, that you chose not to mention certain names like Benguet Representative Eric Goyap, Davao City Representative Paulo Duterte. Supposedly there were links to Senator Bongo. So how do you respond to that you're being tied to a more pro-Duterte leaning, right? That you actually did not approach this investigation with objectivity the way you do with other corruption allegations. Kumbaga pagdating sa rock netting, yung mga Duterte allies, ang criticism is you spared them.
Alam mo kasi Karen, highly politicized naman yung statement kasi ni Antonio Trillanes eh. Highly politicized. Gusto niya kasi na gamitin ako para panatan yung kabila. Ang sa akin lang is based on pieces of evidence. I never hesitated to mention the name of Congressman Eric Yap, to include his brother, another congressman also. I never. Binanggit ko yan na mismo yung ating kinasuhan dyan, yung respondent mismo, yung contractor mismo. Binanggit ko yan na siya mismo ang nagsabi na ang supplier niya was the group of Congressman Eric Yap. Binanggit ko yan. Now, paano nasama rito si Congressman Paulo Duterte? Kasi nga siya yung lumakad doon sa appointment ni Congressman Eric Yap as a caretaker congressman of Benguet, isang party list member. Instead of looking for a congressman dito sa Cordillera sana to be the caretaker who knows our culture, our tradition, bakit isang party list na kinuha na hindi man lang IT? Diba? Yun ang question din doon. So, gusto niyang banggitin ko, ano naman ang connection ko doon? Ako naman investigator. Alam ko naman kung paano ko i-connect yung isang tao on the basis of information, di ba? material evidence. Wala naman ako may connect tungkol sa kanya except yung siya lang ang yung relationship niya with Congressman Eric Yap. So,
Okay.
ako tingin ko doon gusto lang niya akong kumbaga fishing expedition na gusto lang niya akong bingwitin eh.
All right. Now, I think with the 2027 budget, the numbers have come out. It's 7.2 trillion pesos. It's 6% higher than last year's budget. And already stories have come out. It's part of our headlines. Unprogrammed funds are, once again, it's a very huge amount. Babalik ang flood control budget na ang pananaw ng ilan kailangan naman. But there are also secret or confidential funds that are, I believe, tataas din with the 2027 budget. What concerns you the most? Eto tayo. Unprogrammed funds is at 112 billion. 112 billion for 2027. Tapos yan, ang confidential intelligence is at 10 billion most likely. This is for the Office of the President. What are your concerns with the 2027 proposed budget?
Well, ang concern ko dyan is, well, going back muna dun sa infrastructure project, with Secretary Binz at the helm of the DPWH, alam ko siguro na magiging maayos yan. Wala akong doubt because nag-uusap naman kami, nakikita ko naman yung kanyang genuine concern, especially in the disbursement of infra funds. Pero ang kinakatakot ko dyan yung insertion. Kasi hindi mo rin mapigilan si Secretary Binz na makipag-cooperate siya sa mga congressman. Otherwise, papahirapan siya dyan sa budget. Alam mo, ang SOP dyan, Karen, every time na nagkaroon na ng budget season at budget hearing na dyan sa Kongreso, first order of the day ng mga head ng mga agencies is, kayo mga RD, puntahan nyo na yung mga congressman ninyo. Alamin mo na kung ano yung mga parochial concerns nila. At doon na nila ipapasok doon sa NEP. Hindi naman nila ipapasok kagad doon sa allocables na yan o gano'n. Diba? Doon na sa NEP nila ipapasok yan. Kaya makikita mo ang complaint nga ng mga mayors. Why is it that every time we approach yung mga regional directors ng ibang mga ahensya, ang lagi nilang sinasabi sa amin, puntahan nyo si congressman. Paano kung hindi nila alam yung congressman? Hirap sila ngayon.
Oo. Maganda punto nyo eh.
On the ground.
Yeah. And maganda punto nyo, which is the same issue, frankly speaking, with the 2024. Actually, the 2024 had a program, the 2025 national budget, which was described by others as the most corrupt budget in recent years, is the very question of will Congress preserve the executive's priorities, or will they significantly realign the budget, which they have done, right? Nakita natin yun.
Well, siguro natuto sila nung nangyari lumabas yung 2025 na I would say, not only was it the most corrupt GAA, no? It was a massacred GAA. That's the way we term it. It was a massacred GAA.
Yeah.
Natuto sila, naglaylo sila noong 2026. Pero itong 2027, ako Diyos ko, unti-unti na lang nila uling claim yung kanilang mga political capital dyan.
Okay. Bago po tayo umalis, we have a few minutes to go. Can you please give me the latest when it comes to the Baguio landslide? I know that kahapon kausap po namin ang disaster officer ninyo and nasa retrieval operations na daw po kayo. So I think ang unang tanong, Mayor, hindi pa pwedeng naiwasan yun. Couldn't you have demanded for an evacuation, forced evacuation?
Yes, totoo yan, Karen. There was an order for them to evacuate. In fact, inamin yan ng isang mother whose daughter was killed.
Yeah.
Inamin niya nung gabi sa akin. Sabi niya sa akin, Mayor, nandyan yung anak ko. Huwag ko kayo mag-alala. Sabi ko, kukunin po natin yung anak niyo. At pagdasal po niyo na buhay pa siya. Sabi ko sa kanya. Tapos, Mayor, sabi ko, tinanong ko, nabigyan mo ba kayo ng order na mag-evacuate? Opo, nakatanggap po kami. In fact ilang beses po kami sinabihan. Patapos yung mga anak ko rin po, sinabihan din po ako, Mami, mag-evacuate na tayo. Kaya lang po, matigas po kasi yung ulo namin. Kasi ilang taon na rin naman po kami nandito, dekada na po kami nandito, wala naman po nangyayari. Mas malakas pa nga yung ulan at bagyo noon. Wala naman nung nangyari, kaya hindi ko kami umalis. So, kita mo, talagang there were efforts to really evacuate them. Ganon din yung ginagawa namin sa ibang lugar, forced evacuation. Kaya ang dami nga namin nasa evacuation centers ngayon, 83 families. At ang affected na, ngayon, almost 200 families na affected dito sa Baguio na ito. At unti-unti silang umuuli. Pero marami pa rin nasa evacuation centers, hindi marami pinapauwi. Kaya kung nagkulang man kami, siguro, yun na lang ang criticism sa amin. Pero ginawa talaga namin ng paraan para talaga maiwasan lahat yan.
Oo, alright. So, paano po ngayon 'no? Ngayon ko kasi dito sa Metro Manila maaraw. Kamusta po ba sa Baguio ngayon? Maaraw ba sa inyo?
Never, hindi pa namin nakikita yung araw dito
Okay,
for the past
alright.
almost 12 days na, Karen.
12 days. Oh, so moving forward, ano po ang iniutos ninyo sa lahat po ng nakatira? Sa kumbaga in areas like Barangay Gisad Surong. Doon po ang landslide, no? Yung mga may bangkay po sa matataas na lugar.
Okay. Karen, madaling sabihin na paalisin mo sila, pauwi mo
Oo.
sila o kaya ilikas mo sila lahat dyan sa mga... But look at the terrain and topography
Yeah.
ng Baguio
Yeah, may
City.
erosion na kasi. May
Yes.
erosion ng many parts.
Ang susceptibility, landslide susceptibility area sa Baguio is 85%.
Oh.
Only 2% are stable. Hindi mo basta-basta pwedeng sabihin lang yan na, oh, alis kayo lahat dyan. Saan mo dadalhin? May re-relocate. Kaya nga, inimbita ko si Secretary Vince, he will be coming over August 17 to August 18. And this is the same thing that we did in the past, ano? Na nakikipag-usap kami sa DPW, kailangan ini-ignore kami. Fortunately, in just a 1-minute conversation with Sec Vince, aakit siya rito sa Baguio. And he will not only try to look into the concerns of Baguio City but in the entire Cordillera. Kaya magkakaroon kami ng meeting dito. Ano ba dapat ang pwede natin gawin dyan sa mga slope, danger slopes na yan? Na marami nang nakatira.
Oo. At yan ang tanong ko, just offhand, ano po ba ang talagang solusyon? Rock netting? Kasi to be honest, ang rock netting is really used all over the world. Totoo naman yon, 'di ba? Or for example, riprap. Hindi, I'm not an expert, but if I were to ask you, because kung 80+% unstable, ano talaga ang kailangan sa Baguio?
Okay. First, alam mo, Karen, unang-una, according to experts, I'm not an expert, but I consulted with several experts. Sabi na, Mayor, unang-una, kailangan magkaroon ng slope analysis muna, evaluate muna natin.
Wala pang
Wait,
ganun.
yan.
Oo.
And then second, saka natin hahanapin kung anong solution. Is it a shotcrete? Is it a kind of rock netting na passive or active type? O kaya baka naman pwedeng retaining wall. So maraming klaseng solution, pero kailangan muna yung slope analysis. Unfortunately, ang nangyari dito sa Baguio, sa karamihan ng mga nagkaroon ng rock netting project, wala namang slope analysis. Wala ring impact analysis na ginawa. No? Basta na lang tinayo na lang yung mga rock netting na hindi man lang pinag-aralan kung talaga ba talaga yung solution. But for the city of Baguio, siguro kailangan talaga ng iba't ibang mga solution dito. For example, yung slope kayo sa Gisad Surong is a 19-degree slope.
Yeah.
Kaya how can you, sabi nga sa akin, sir, hindi pwedeng basta-basta na lang rock netting yan. Mahirap yan. Kasi it's 90-degree slope na eh. At almost 30 stories ang taas. Kaya talagang napakahirap. Kaya we need more experts to come over. Now, we are going to declare that area as a no-build zone.
Okay. So you will declare which area? Can you be specific na i-declare yun na no-build zone?
Yes. Oh. At alam mo, Karen,
Anong areas, sir? Can you name them just very quickly?
meron kami mga lugar dyan sa Irisan, meron kami lugar dyan sa Asin, meron kami lugar dyan sa Luknab, meron kami lugar dyan sa Capialo, meron kami lugar dyan sa Gisad Surong, as several other barangays na talagang kailangan i-declare na no-build zone. But we need a really comprehensive study.